Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. Do you believe there's a Chicago judge that right now wants to order ICE agents to be arrested in the courthouse if these ICE agents defy the judge's orders not to go in and bother illegal aliens in a courthouse? These people are in this country illegally, and this judge wants to arrest ICE agents instead of the illegals who snuck into this country. And by the way, they're in court for a reason, because they committed some other offense. Many of the cases, violent crimes. So as we see 480,000 illegals arrested, 7 out of 10 of them had criminal cases against them. We know that the Department of Justice, we know that Homeland Security, we know that ICE is doing its job at a federal level, thanks to President Trump and Kristi Noem and the FBI and Tom Homan and all of them. Why can't the courts do their job? Well, the courts can't do their job because the courts have been infiltrated with leftist radical judges like this judge in Chicago. And then I see city halls across America infiltrated by radical leftists like Karen Bass in Los Angeles, who wants an investigation into ICE agents that are, quote, detaining illegal aliens and, quote, American citizens. Now, the only way they're detaining American citizens is if the American citizens are breaking the law, okay? The only way they're detaining illegal aliens is if the illegal aliens do not have a right to be here. So I don't know what kind of investigation Karen Bass needs into this, but apparently she's got her Democrat friends all on board, and they're going to take the show on the road like Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And you know what the best part of Ringling Brothers is the clown show. The clown show called the Democrat Party. They're going to show up in L.A., and they're going to hold remote hearings on all of this. Quite frankly, folks, it's sickening. So we're going to talk about that on the program today. We're going to get into a lot of this. We're going to talk about President Trump's plans to go after the drug cartels, this idea of taking out the drug boats. He's missing one area that needs to be focused on. That's the Pacific Ocean. We're getting word that there are drug boats that are coming up from San Diego to Santa Barbara and flooding Southern California, which then moves the drugs into the rest of the country, flooding Southern California with illegal drugs because the border is shut down. It's the only way to get it in. So President Trump, as you focus on Colombia and Venezuela in the Atlantic Ocean, we need to be focused on the Pacific Ocean and the Sinaloa cartels. We'll go into all of it today on the program as well. It's a big podcast. I'm glad you're here for it. Before we get to that, we've got a new sponsor. Folks, I just read a report that shows Americans in record numbers are outliving their retirement savings. That puts you in a very precarious situation. Why is this happening? It's because the retirement strategies that most people are using are the same tired old strategies from the 1970s. What happens? Financial advisors get risk. The retirement companies get rich, but it often leaves you and your savings positioned very poorly. Companies like BlackRock and Vanguard keep getting bigger and bigger while your retirement savings struggle to keep up with the rising cost of everything today. It doesn't have to be this way. My great friends at Augusta Precious Metals have put together an important report tailored just for my audience. Many of you have over $50,000 in a retirement account, whether it's an IRA, 401k, or a TSP, which means you need to get your hands on this concise but powerful 2-minute report about how to take full control of your retirement and financial future. Here's what I want you to do. Visit grantlovesgold.com. That's grantlovesgold.com, or text Grant to 35052. Do it today. You'll get instant access to this 2-minute report. In it, you'll learn one step that you can take that will open the doors to a modern way to protect and grow your retirement. It uses the same strategies the wealthy use to protect their portfolios. Look, even companies like BlackRock and Vanguard are using these strategies themselves without sharing them with their clients. Well, now you can start taking advantage of them as well. So If you have over $50,000 in your retirement accounts, you need to contact my friends at Augusta Precious Metals. Visit grantlovesgold.com. That's grantlovesgold.com, or text Grant to 35052. Do it today. Your future self will thank you. I'll tell you what, folks. I love what President Trump is doing. I love what ICE agents are doing. I love what U.S. Customs and Border Protection are doing. I love what Kristi Noem is doing. I love what the entire administration is doing. You know, we didn't have this shutdown. Things would be, super great, right? Because right now we're getting word that not only is America becoming a safer place, but we're cleaning up the mess that Joe Biden created. Make no mistake about that. Okay, back to the task at hand. Trump's DHS arrests more than 480,000 illegals in 9 months. 7 in 10 of them are criminally convicted or charged with a crime. 7 in 10. These are the worst of the worst. Now, what I would urge you to do when you get to the office or when you get some time, just Google this and start looking at the faces of the people that we are rounding up. And you start reading about their criminal convictions, from child molestation, rape. Yes, you've got murderers, home burglary, aggravated assault. The number and list of crimes are long and they are harsh. So we're rounding them up and we're making America a safer place. And what do you think Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, wants to do? You would think that anybody with common sense would say, hey, you know what? Let's give these folks a big pat on the back. Let's give them a big thumbs up. Let's throw a party for them that they're making America safer again, California safer again, heck, every state in the country safer again. Woo! Yes, but no. Karen Bass wants to investigate and potentially arrest. This is a new theme, by the way. Governor Pritzker in Illinois started this. He wants to arrest ICE agents. Karen Bass, same thing. She's now saying, you know what? We need an investigation into them. So Karen Bass has recruited congressional Democrats to hold a congressional hearing, and they're going to do it here in Los Angeles, on the, quote, unlawful and unconstitutional detainment and alleged abuse of U.S. citizens and immigrants by federal agents. Now, they claim that somehow 170 American citizens were caught up and detained by ICE agents. Now, if we've arrested 480,000 illegal aliens and you had 170 American citizens caught up in that, and this says detained, not arrested, mind you, how do you think this is going down? I'm going to tell you what happens. President Trump's team goes into a known drug stash house where they have a line on MS-13 gang members who are here illegally from El Salvador. And they go in at 5 o'clock in the morning in this house, and there's 20 people in the house. And you know what they do? They detain everybody there. And maybe some of them are American citizens. But guess what? You're in a drug stash house. You're associating yourself with known criminals. So you're detained. Hate to break the news to you. Even if you're an American citizen, if you're hanging out with criminals, you can be detained. There is not one example of an American citizen somehow being deported. That just isn't happening, even though Democrats want you to believe that. So this is Karen Bass talking about this investigation that she wants to ramp up. Cut 24.
On Friday, I held a meeting with one coalition called One LA, and they talked about the need and the desire to begin documenting this injustice, and that maybe we should have field hearings to begin to document it, because when injustice is documented, then when things change politically, laws can be put in place so that this never happens again. Well, I knew that in this area, we were so fortunate to have a member of Congress right from our county, former mayor of Long Beach, who was elected to Congress just a couple of years ago.
That's right.
Who was elected by his peers to be the lead Democrat on the Government Reform and Oversight Committee. That is the committee that conducts investigations. And so I called my friend and colleague, Congressman Garcia, and I talked to him about this idea of having hearings and asked him, would he lead an investigation into this injustice, and would he lead the effort to have hearings so that we can make sure that this never happens again?
Give me a break. What dopes. They're so out of touch with even the people of Los Angeles who don't fall on our side of the aisle. People are happy that illegal alien criminals are getting rounded up and pushed out of here. All right, now here's what's really awful. They're asking the public to record ICE activity when they see it, then upload these videos to a master, quote, ICE tracker site that they plan to launch within the next few weeks. What do you think will happen with those videos? You're going to have Antifa goons downloading those videos. They'll be doxing these ICE agents, meaning letting the world know exactly who they are, where they live, who their family members are. We know that they're tracking the children of ICE agents. And so this is what is being enabled and encouraged by leadership in Los Angeles to literally track and record federal agents doing their job, trying to make Los Angeles, California, any city they're working in safe. Now, what does this stem from? It stems from Trump derangement syndrome. They just can't stand Trump, so they push back against everything he does. Again, if you're a liberal, call me, 855-785-8255. You're anybody, you can call me. But if you're a liberal, I want to know, does it not make sense to take hardened criminals off the streets? Now, you're going to tell me it doesn't make sense to take the only crime they committed is by crossing the border illegally off the streets. I'll give them a chance, be compassionate. No. Again, Congress needs to make it super easy for people to come here. Super easy for them to come here legally. Can't come here illegally. And you can't be giving passes, because the more you give passes, the more everybody says, oh, you know what? I'll just come and they'll let me go. So Karen Bass ought to be absolutely ashamed of herself in this. Congressman Garcia also ought to be ashamed of themselves because of what they're doing to go after ICE agents in a manner that is so inappropriate. All anybody wants to do is live in peace. You know, Karen Bass said no one, regardless of the background or appearance, should be living in fear of being thrown behind bars by their own government. Well, if you're here illegally, this government is not your government. And it's not because of your appearance that we're throwing you in jail. It is because of your background of being a criminal. And it has nothing to do with your race. We've got illegal aliens from Czechoslovakia to Egypt to Pakistan to India. And yes, of course, to Colombia and Venezuela and Ecuador and Guatemala and all the usual suspects. No matter where you're from, if you snuck in, it's time to go home. Folks, what if I told you you could lock into up to 20% annualized interest on your investment, and this group would pay you that interest monthly, direct cash flow into your bank account? I'm doing this with the folks over at get20now.com. This is about Bitcoin mining. It's about taking advantage of the Bitcoin craze without the wild swings. You lock into, as I said, up to 20% interest, depending on the deal you make with them. And they have lived up to all their promises to me. Every month, like clockwork, I get that money deposited into my bank account. I've made a sizable investment with the folks at NFN8. I want you to contact them, get20now.com. Answer the call or call them back when they get with you. You'll be talking to one of the principals in the company. His name is Corey. He's a great guy. They all think like us. They believe in the same things we do. And I'm a big fan of this company, NFN8.com. So if you want to take advantage of the Bitcoin craze, but you don't want the wild swings, I want you to talk to the folks at get20now.com. That's get20now.com. Pay them a visit today. So Karen Bass wants to have ICE agents basically arrested. She's calling for a congressional investigation into ICE agents and their detainment of what she's calling as American citizens. She claims there are 170 instances that ICE agents detained American citizens. All very explainable. If they've made 480,000 arrests, I promise you, some of these are going into places where they don't know who's there, and they're detaining people, whether you're an American citizen or not. You're hanging out with criminals and bad dudes, bad hombres. You're going to get detained for the moment. So they can investigate all they want, but to me, it just shows you how awful they are when it comes to supporting law enforcement and the rule of law. Somebody who knows this, and one reason why he's running for governor in California, as a Republican, of course, is our friend Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Sheriff Bianco, it's great to have you on the program.
Good morning, Grant.
Well, great job at Town Hall, by the way. Your thoughts? Do you have a blast with at our Salem Town Hall event?
It was a great day, all day long. I mean, it was fantastic that it was full from the beginning to the end, and a lot of great panelists, great speakers. I had a great time.
All right. So your reaction, Sheriff, to Karen Bass now calling for a congressional investigation into ICE agents?
Yeah, it's just more of their political theater. You have to really, really realize.
Hey, Sheriff.
Everything they say.
Hold on one second. I'm going to ask you to hang up and call back. It's a very sadly an annoying cutout situation that we need to get fixed. So let's try that. We'll try to get the sheriff back. But again, this shows why we need new leadership in California. It shows why we say that these elected leaders in California do not support law enforcement. They do not support the rule of law. And in the end, they do not support all of you, because if you're turning your backs on law enforcement, you're turning your back on the community. That is an absolute fact. Let's try this again. Sheriff Bianco is back with us. Let's see if this is any better, Sheriff.
Hopefully it is. It sounds better on my end for sure.
It is. It's much better. So your thoughts about Karen Bass wanting a congressional investigation and ultimately looking into these ICE agents. And I'm sure down the road she is going to be exactly like Pritzker and wants to arrest ICE agents.
Oh, yeah. It's all political theater. It is. We have to realize and we have to understand that everything they say is either a distortion of fact or a flat-out lie. It's these 150 of them were flat-out criminals who were interfering with ICE that were arrested for that. So I don't care if you're a non-citizen or a citizen. If you're going to interfere with ICE, you're going to get arrested, plain and simple, and they should be. And then the others, if they're going in and arresting people and you don't have ID and you can't prove that you're a citizen and everybody else is getting arrested for being illegal in the house, guess what? You're going to go too. And then here's the lie. They sit there and they let you call people. And how did they find out that they were American citizens? Because they called people, found out, they brought their paperwork, their driver's license, whatever. So what she is saying is an absolute lie, but it's typical for Karen Bass and Democrats. All
right, this is interesting too, because I'm glad you're laying this out for us. 150 of them are these kind of lunatics that are standing in the way and getting and
Yeah.
They got the cameras up in the faces, and then some of them even start putting hands on these ICE agents.
Absolutely, and they're arrested. So guess what? ICE can arrest you, and they should arrest you, and you deserve to be arrested. And I'm absolutely sick of this twist of, the federal government arresting U.S. citizens that are here. Okay, so what? I arrest U.S. citizens all the time. Quit committing crimes.
Yeah, exactly. The other side to that, too, is American citizens are separated from their families all the time. You arrest somebody for drunk driving and there's a kid in the car. I just watched a video on TikTok of sadly, it was a law enforcement officer getting arrested for drunk driving. He had a son in the car. They had to have CPS come out and take the kid away. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're an American citizen or illegal alien. If you're breaking the law, you're getting separated from your family.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, here's the key to separation of families, and they don't have to be separated. When the adults who came here illegally and brought their kids here illegally get deported, their kids go with them. Then they're not separated anymore.
All right, so Sheriff, when you look at what's happening here with all of this, what could and should the governor be doing right now that you would be doing when it comes to all of this?
SB 54 has to be absolutely repealed. He could suspend it. He chooses not to because he uses this for political fodder.
Explain SB 54 so everybody at home knows what that is.
SB 54 is the law that in California that made us a sanctuary state. And it doesn't protect people who are here illegally. It only protects criminals who are in jail and prison from being deported upon their release. We have to release them back into society. So the only reason ICE is here, and they said this from the very beginning, but the press won't report it, and certainly the governor or the mayor aren't going to say it, if they would have been allowed to just go into jails and pick all these people up, then they wouldn't have to go into their businesses and their homes and everything else. We know where they live. We arrested them sometimes numerous times. They've been deported before. We know where they are. It's easy to pick them up in the safety of a jail, but state law prevents that from happening. That's what the governor should have done from the very beginning, and ICE wouldn't be doing these random pickups at houses and neighborhoods and stores.
All right, I would imagine, California's probably like the rest of the country. You got all these rural areas that are bright red, and I'm sure you got a million counties that have great conservative sheriffs like yourself that are going to have no problems with ICE coming into the jails. But unfortunately, we have Dallas County, we've got San Diego, we've got San Francisco, we've got Sacramento, we've got all these big cities. The sheriffs in these cities have not been quite as good as they should about letting ICE in. I don't think we're allowing ICE in the jails in L.A., correct?
Well, no, it's illegal. They've made it absolutely illegal in this state to let ICE into the jail. So that's why I'm suing the state, because SB 54 is illegal, because by preventing me from cooperating with the federal government, I'm breaking federal law to comply with state law. And
all right.
That in and of itself is unconstitutional.
So it's illegal. If you said yes, hey, they say, hey, we got a wanted triple homicide guy you can't let ICE in to come get him?
There's a little bit of a caveat there that sometimes I would be able to and sometimes I would not. If he had already been convicted and we were releasing him, then I could. But if he would just murdered 50 people, say he murdered 5 people, and he's a cartel guy, and he comes in with $5 million bail, and somebody walks in right after him with $5 million to bail him out, I would have to let him go. If we did not have SB 54, I would hold him, and then ICE would come pick him up, and they would detain him on the immigration status.
Is there any way on some of these that when a guy's getting released that you may not let ICE in, but can you tell him we're going to release him at 10:02 a.m. and we're going to let him go out the front door and you guys can be outside?
Yes, and it's very limited on the crimes that they commit, and it would be like that, say, a homicide or a brutal rape. When we release them, all we can do is tell ICE they'll be released at midnight, and then if ICE is going to pick them up, they have to wait outside on the street corner where we release them and pick them up.
It's utterly ridiculous and literally putting people in danger. I mean, it
is absolutely asinine. It's asinine, and it puts the community at risk. And the sad thing is, the governor knows it, Karen Bass knows it, and every single Democrat knows it. They don't care because they only care about sticking up for the 10, 20 million people that came in to this country in the last couple of years because they want them to vote.
Yeah. Sheriff, where can people find you and help out with the campaign?
Yeah, thank you. BiancoForGovernor.com and all the social media platforms, Sheriff Chad Bianco.
All right. Hey, it was great to see you on Sunday. A great job, by the way, and good luck with the campaign.
Thanks, Grant.
Absolutely. So, folks, can you imagine that literally you gotta wait for ICE to get there, or more importantly, ICE has to wait outside to get these criminals that are wanted, instead of just being able to go in, take them while they're in handcuffs, everybody's safe, no fights, no runaways. They become a got-away again. I mean, the insanity here of what is going on. People need to wake up, but nobody knows this. I mean, look, even me, I've been doing this 4 years. These intricate details, I wasn't even aware of them. How do you think the American people, how do the people of California are going to be aware of them if I'm not completely aware of them? And that's exactly how Gavin Newsom and his Democrats in California want it. They want us in the dark. They want to overcomplicate things. So, again, we'll keep exposing it. The moment we find out, we expose it. Folks, do you know what Chagas disease is? It's disgusting. It's this rare bug called the kissing bug that bites you, and then you get infected with this parasite. Now, this was once considered a distant problem, but now cases have recently been detected in multiple U.S. states, including California, Texas, Arizona, and so many others. Now, early signs of this are fever, rash, fatigue, swollen lymph nodes. It may seem mild, yet over time, the disease can bring severe heart damage, digestive dysfunction, and yes, even death. Now, don't fear this. All right. The Wellness Company has a solution. It's a parasite cleanse. I just went through it, a total body detox. Ivermectin and mebendazole, FDA approved for human use. It's the solution. Ivermectin paralyzes and kills parasites by disrupting the nervous system, while mebendazole starves them by blocking glucose absorption. This potent combination delivers broad-spectrum defense against intestinal and tissue parasites. So what I'm telling you is it's most all of the common parasites that cause bloating and skin problems and brain fog and all of these things you don't want. Go with the Total Body Wellness Company Detox Parasite Cleanse. Fill out a quick intake form. It is literally that easy. You fill out the intake form, you'll get a bottle of 90 capsules, 4 cycles, shipped straight to your door. Head to twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT. Save $60 off plus free shipping. It is that easy. You just fill out that form. They will send it right to you. I promise you, it worked for me. It'll work for you. Get a total body detox. The Wellness Company. Do it today. Do you know that the Sinaloa cartels in Mexico are flooding Southern California with drug shipments coming in on boats? Now, this has been done probably since the beginning of time. The only difference now is that the number of shipments of these illegal drugs coming in on boats into Southern California, all right, the Pacific Ocean, not the Atlantic Ocean, where President Trump is really waging war on countries like Venezuela and Columbia with the drug shipments. The Pacific Ocean shipments coming in between San Diego and Santa Barbara are increasing at record rates. How do I know this? I know this because I have spoken with insiders inside U.S. Customs and Border Protection. I spoke with them yesterday, and they are now issuing a call to President Trump to also start focusing his military strikes on the Pacific Ocean, specifically the Mexican drug cartels. Now, why does the Mexican drug cartels find it necessary to start shipping these drugs with boats? Well, it's clear. The border is shut down. And so because of the border being shut down, which, look, this is great that the border is shut down. It's great that it's virtually closed. But the cartels have to come up with a new way to do business. So they're going back to some of the old tried and true practices, and that is to use boats to ship drugs into America. Now, specifically, what am I talking about? Not just marijuana and cocaine, but fentanyl. And fentanyl is what is killing American citizens at a record rate. This is why President Trump is targeting the boats coming out of Venezuela and Colombia. So we know that fentanyl is killing American citizens. We believe that China is behind much of it, using Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, and the cartels to push these drugs into the United States. And the number one state being hammered by all of this is California. So as Border Patrol urges President Trump to focus on the Pacific Ocean because of everything coming into Southern California, I would like to review what he's doing in the Atlantic Ocean. So the amount of drugs coming out of Venezuela, it appears Venezuela is starting to get the message. Why is Venezuela starting to get the message? Well, I don't know if you heard this clip from President Trump, but it was pretty darn good. This is why people love President Trump. He's so decisive, and he tells it like it is. He's basically changed the way we expect presidents to behave in public, which I really enjoy, quite frankly. This is President Trump on Nicolas Maduro, cut 5.
It has been reported that Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to around with the United States. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Why does he not want to F around with the United States? Because we're literally blowing ships out of the water. I mean, it's amazing to me to watch these military strikes. Now, we've dubbed many of these narco-terrorist groups, and that's what they are, terrorist groups. That's what they've been dubbed. And because they're dubbed as terror groups, President Trump has wide-ranging authority to take them out of the water. The latest one was coming from Colombia. It was a submarine. So the submarine, they load up with drugs, start pushing it towards America. My sources are telling me that the United States has assets and sources on the ground in both Colombia and Venezuela, including other countries like Ecuador. But we're getting live intelligence reports of these boats, of the shipments, which then allows our satellite capabilities to go above. We are apparently taking pictures of the drugs on board and the people on board in a way that, you'd only think you'd see in a Hollywood movie. So when there's criticism that President Trump is just taking out fishermen, we've got the evidence to back it up, and the left doesn't want to hear about it. Now, speaking of fishermen, this drug boat that was a submarine coming out of Colombia. Trump orders a strike on the submarine, kills 2 people, 2 others are left behind. And I guess Coast Guard, Navy goes in and takes those 2 people into custody, and we instantly just send them, one back to Colombia, one back to Ecuador. Why didn't want to prosecute them in the United States? I don't know. But we send 2 back and kill 2 others. Now, the media has reached a point, along with the Democrats, that no matter what, if it's common sense, they're not going to support it if it comes from President Trump. So if it's common sense that's a Trump idea, they will throw it out. Even if the American people wildly support this. This is President Trump on the fisherman aspect. 8.
The Trump administration went ahead and repaid.
Excuse me. I believe it's cut 8, but let me go back and look, Dan. It's Trump fisherman 9, maybe. Okay, let's try that.
Former President Columbia, the Colombian president says that the U.S. killed a innocent Colombian fisherman in one of the strikes.
They said that when we shot down a submarine, that they were just fishing. This was a submarine that was meant, by the way, this was a submarine that was meant for one reason and made for one reason, to carry massive amounts of drugs.
So, do they really think that there are fishermen on a submarine? And let me ask you, how in the world do you fish off a submarine? But again, this is what the mainstream media wants you to believe. So the good news is 2 of them going back to Colombia and Ecuador. J.D. Vance talked about that. I believe that's cut 6.
It's important for the American people to recognize these are narco-terrorists who are trying to bring poison into our country and kill our citizens. What happens to them, I don't really care so long as they're not bringing poison into our country.
Exactly. And that's what this is about. So when you think about the war on terror, well, the war on terror has now become the war on drugs. or vice versa, I guess. But the left is going crazy over all of this. They despise that President Trump is doing this. They despise that he's taking the fight to these countries and narco-terror groups that are killing American citizens. Now, so what does the mainstream media do whenever they disagree with President Trump? They try to march out their so-called experts, which are all wild political hacks. So do you remember Leon Panetta? He was the defense secretary, I believe under Obama. So they're going to start criticizing President Trump for blowing up drug boats. You tell me one mother in America that isn't going to support blowing up drug boats that are bringing drugs here, dangerous drugs like fentanyl, to kill her children. Even if you're a crazy liberal, you think a mom is going to have sympathy for the people on the drug boat? I don't think so. So again, this is why President Trump is doing so well with the American people, and Democrat leadership is flipping out. Anyway, Leon Panetta, they march him out. This is what he says, Cut 11.
Well, there's no question that that what is needed here is the truth about what's going on. And unfortunately, although the United States is striking these vessels, it has not really presented clear evidence of exactly what was on those ships and why the actions were taken.
No clear evidence? I just told you they've got pictures. They've got human intelligence on the ground. They've been following these boats. They have infrared cameras of who's on the boats and what they're doing. And then you want to talk about evidence as to why we're doing this. Just talk to an American family who lost a loved one because of a fentanyl poisoning. And, you know, it is true that I think all of these law enforcement officers are 100% correct when they say you do not call this a fentanyl overdose. It's a fentanyl poisoning. Because it is murder by design. And so you want proof? Leon Panetta needs proof? We have more American citizens now dying of fentanyl than any other drug in the world. It is a frightening thing what is happening right now. And then you got people like Rand Paul. Boy, what a thorn in the side of President Trump. I told you, Rand Paul, his good ideas are really good and his bad ideas are really bad. This is typical of a libertarian. Libertarians, their good ideas are really good. But boy, when they get bad ideas, they get bad ones. Again, they hate any kind of military intervention whatsoever, even if it's going to directly keep Americans safe. Listen to Rand Paul talking about if the strikes are legal, Cut 12.
Do you believe that these strikes against these suspected drug boats are legal?
No, they go against all of our tradition. You know, when you kill someone, you should know if you're not at war, not in a declared war, you really need to know someone's name at least. You have to accuse them of something. You have to present evidence.
What are you talking about, Rand Paul? So you think when we're at war in Afghanistan shooting terrorists in a terrorist stash house, you think we need to know their names? No, we have intel of what's going on inside the house, and our Navy SEALs go in and raid it. This is the exact same situation. These are terrorists that are bringing these drugs to America. We have intel the drugs are loaded on the ship. We know where the ship is going. We've been following the ship. We don't need to know their names. I'm glad that we have a president that has the stones to take these boats out. Now, to bring this full circle, now we've got to hone in our focus on the Sinaloa cartel and the Pacific Ocean and the drug boats coming and landing between San Diego and Santa Barbara. And those numbers are increasing. So, Mr. President, if you're listening, please focus on the Pacific Ocean, the people of California, and beyond. Need your help on that front. Do you want to take your life back? Do you want to get healthy again? The folks at Energized Health can help you do this. Their protocol is patent pending. It is about the science, and it is about getting hydrated at a cellular level. What does that mean? It means the pounds just shed like crazy. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks on the Energized Health Protocol. It wasn't about crazy diets, and it wasn't about all kinds of supplements that cost you millions, and it wasn't about a crazy workout plan. Now, you change the way you eat around a little bit. You change the way you work out around a little bit, but all of it is doable. In fact, I would say it's easy. So again, 15 pounds in 2 weeks. I know people that lost 150 pounds on the Energized Health Protocol. Now, here's what else happens when you get hydrated at a cellular level. All of your vitals go in the right direction. You know, my blood pressure came down. My testosterone levels went up. My muscle mass went up. This is what Energized Health can do for you. And it's not just your body. Your mind will change too. You will start to think clearer and you will be happier. I promise you. How do I know? They got a guarantee like nobody's business. EnergizedHealth.com. Go take the masterclass. Learn about intracellular hydration. And I promise you, you're going to want to get on board with this and take back your life. It's EnergizedHealth.com. Make sure you tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. Question for you. How do you think President Trump is doing? I personally love what the guy is doing. I mean, every move this guy makes, it either makes me smile, I start laughing, or it's so serious, but I get a keen sense of retribution. And I love it. I love seeing many of these people being charged. Now, I know President Trump isn't behind that, but his administration is. And I think we are only at the precipice of seeing a large number of these co-conspirators in the Obama collusion scheme that we saw over the last 8 to 10 years start to answer for their crimes against America and certainly crimes against President Trump. But his approval rating amongst the nation, now I know all of you agree with me on this, at least all of you that are listening that love the program, President Trump, and the idea of making America great again. I know we got plenty of liberals that listen that probably hate it, but the majority of you out there, I know you're with me. 855-785-8255, and you can feel free to weigh in on that. But as you look at this, the entire nation appears to be behind President Trump. You've got independents that are moving towards President Trump. And when we talk about approval ratings in America, when you get anywhere around 50% or hovering over 50%, those are monstrous approval ratings as far as the president goes. Well, now CNN is admitting that President Trump's approval ratings, now even during the shutdown, are not decreasing. In fact, they're increasing. Now, you compare that to the shutdown in his first term, that was not the case. President Trump's approval ratings plummeted. So why are his approval ratings increasing during the Democrat shutdown? Well, I believe it has a lot to do with more than the shutdown. I think it has to do with what we've been talking about the ICE raids and cleaning up our streets and sending the National Guard into cities and getting criminals off the streets and getting gas prices to the lowest point they have been in 5 years. Lowest point. Inflation is back down. We've had a little tiny decrease in interest rates. Stock market is again soaring. All of these things is one reason why his approval rating is at an all-time high. But I also believe it has to do with his decisiveness, his convictions. People love decisive leaders. So you want to hear CNN. This is Harry Enton. He's like their pollster guy at CNN. And you know they must just be reeling when he comes on and says this. But, you know, to his credit, he's not skewing the numbers, manipulating the numbers. He's basically telling it like it is. And so I'll applaud CNN when they do things right. Harry Enton, you're doing things right. Roll cut 14.
In 2018/2019, Donald Trump's net approval rating was already falling. The shutdown was eating into his popular support. It was down 3 points already at this particular point and would fall considerably more. It was very much on the decline. You come over to this side of the screen, This shutdown hasn't eaten into Donald Trump's support at all. His net approval rating is actually up a point in terms of his popular support.
So why is that? The Democrats are really doing a number on themselves as well. I think when you see what the Democrats are doing, their hypocrisy, they're pushing it back against President Trump, no matter what he does, even if it makes sense to the American people, and the Democrats are hog wild against him, then you see this No Kings protest. I mean, I know you've heard the analogy before, but it is worth saying that if Donald Trump was a king, you would not be allowed to take to the streets and protest. And I'm talking about all the old bag white ladies that were on the street protesting, because that's about what it amounted to, these No Kings protests. Oh, there were some old white bag dudes as well. It was like a baby boomer convention. Those are the only people who were, they wanted to throw back to the 1960s or something in their college days. And they're so angry and so ugly. And I think part of it is their personality makes them so ugly. Most of them are out of shape. Am I mean by saying this? I hope, well, it might be mean, but I don't know. Again, it's just the truth. I look at the videos of these protesters, and they all look like baby booming lunatics. I mean, so when you see President Trump's approval rating holding steady or even increasing, it's due in large part to people that say things like this. Cut 28.
Gonna kill
Nazis.
Who do you define as a Nazi?
What do you mean? It's pretty.
In this context, who's a Nazi?
Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
So you're gonna kill Stephen Miller?
If I had the chance, yeah, I would.
I don't know if that's something I'd say on camera, bro.
Bro, you just said if you had the chance, you'd kill Stephen Miller. I would offer up the FBI ought to go investigate that man right away. Who raised these people? I mean, my mom is a liberal. I know Jen's mom is a liberal, and I know both of them. I know my mom better than Jen's mom, but I know Jen's mom pretty well. They would never advocate for killing somebody. They may hate President Trump. They're not going to advocate for killing him, and they're not going to advocate for killing those around him. I promise you that. Now, who raised these people? Where are their mothers and fathers? Now, President Trump, again, the Democrats are doing such damage to themselves that they're the ones forcing his approval rating up. He talked about being a king. You know, this is after he released a video of him waving in a king's outfit from like the balcony of the White House the other day, which is pretty funny. I mean, he is the master of trolling them. But listen, last segment, I think, or the segment we played, President Trump dropping an F-bomb. Now he's dropping an A-bomb. I don't know. The guy's just getting bolder. He's cursing all over the place, but I don't even care. Cut 26.
What's your response to the protests over the weekend, the No Kings protests?
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
Well, Your Majesty, I would say even kings can work very hard. I mean, I'm sure some of these kings worked hard. And all of your serfs out there, me included, are happy to support you, Your Majesty. The truth is, I say this joke, but if he could be a king for a day, how great would it be? The shutdown would be over. We'd cut government spending in so many places. We'd build our military up to the point where he wants it to be. He's working on it now. But if he was a king, he could turn America around in a second. But he's not a king because that's not how our government works. And we understand that's not how our government works, even though Democrats don't understand it. And the reason I'm okay with our government working the way it does is because it is the best system that we have. Would I love to give President Trump more free reign? Yes, but remember, it slices both ways. Do I want Joe Biden or Barack Obama having more free reign? No. But they're out to hurt America. President Trump's out to make America great again. So again, his approval rating literally soaring. And that, of course, is a good thing. You see this cell phone right here? This is supported by Patriot Mobile. They are my service provider. They're the official service provider of Stinchfield's Army. Why? Because the folks at Patriot Mobile think like us. They believe in the same things we believe in. They're putting constitutions in schools, 10 commandment signs in classrooms across America, supporting our veterans, fighting for our gun rights, fighting for right to life issues. You name it, Patriot Mobile is on the front lines. But beyond that, it's great service. You get to choose which network you want to be on. You get 100% U.S.-based customer service. So you know when you call, you're going to get an English-speaking person right here in America that's going to help you quickly. Their customer service, by the way, is fabulous. Switching is easy. Keep your phone, upgrade your phone, get a new phone, whatever you want to do. Patriot Mobile will help you. And when I tell you switching is easy, it literally takes minutes. So here's what I want you to do. Go to patriotmobile.com/Grant. That's patriotmobile.com/Grant, or you can call them at 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT, and tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. These No Kings protesters typify just how violent the left can be, just how evil they can be. I can't tell you how many comments I heard from people. They were happy that Charlie Kirk was dead, that he deserved it. I saw another young woman I was just watching right now, Caitlin Bennett, who literally was told by a woman who appears to be in her 60s that Caitlin Bennett deserved to die too if she goes to college campuses and talks to kids about politics. It's insanity what's going on. You got this well, you can't even call him a demonstrator. If you're calling for someone to be murdered, I would think that amounts to a rioter. I mean, you may not have actually caused destruction where you are, but if you're calling for the murder of somebody, you're no longer a protester. You're no longer a demonstrator. You're a potential assassin. Cut 28.
Who are you going to kill?
Nazis.
Who do you define as a Nazi?
What do you mean? It's pretty...
In this context, who's a Nazi?
Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
So you're going to kill Stephen Miller?
If I had a chance, yeah, I would.
I don't know if that's something I'd say on camera, bro.
So the FBI needs to investigate that individual right away. He basically admitted that he would kill Stephen Miller, who was, one of President Trump's closest confidants in the White House, if he had the chance. Well, Stephen Miller doesn't have Secret Service protection. Investigate that guy. Now, where are these people learning to do what they do? And what is also interesting is once these protests ended, people disappeared. I'm convinced that many of them were being paid, that they were motivated to go out there with some form of remuneration. I also believe they're highly organized and being trained. Now, these are the anti-fascist demonstrators, the No Kings, Antifa. They're all one and the same. You can't throw Black Lives Matter into this group because I didn't see one person of color at any of these events, by the way. But again, wait a second. At the Black Lives Matter protests, I never saw a black person. It was always white liberal women there. This is a, quote, anti-fascist demonstrator admitting on my old network Newsmax to being trained, cut 27.
So the reason I like it so much, it's really cute, and it makes it so you can realize how absurd it is to be afraid of people who are anti-fascism, because we used to all be against fascism. It's just changed now.
So you align yourself with the Antifa movement? You identify as Antifa?
I do not. I identify as anti-fascist.
Okay, so you think today's protest will be peaceful? Looks peaceful so far, right?
I definitely do think it's going to be peaceful. We've all been told to be peaceful. We've had training on how to be peaceful and to de-escalate, and none of us want anything that's not peaceful.
Now, wait a second. You've had training? What kind of training did that entail? Did you guys meet at the Anti-Fascist Center? The Anti-Fascist for Peaceful Demonstration Center? What else were you trained in? Are you being paid? Quite frankly, this is a fascinating interview because it is an admission that this is highly organized, all of this stuff. So when you look at this, even NBC had to admit that this is an older crowd. It is the baby boomer crew. Very few young people there. I really believe this is these. They're still liberals, the Birkenstock crowd that is just dying for their 1960s again. Here's NBC's Sue O'Connell in Boston.
This is an older crowd. There's not a lot of folks, and granted, it's a big crowd here. I'm not good at estimating, but it's definitely over 2,000, maybe close to 3,000. We can't see everyone, but it's an older crowd. A lot of white hair you see out there, Q-tips, as we used to call them in the business. And they're out protesting, and not a lot of young people.
Q-tips, as she says. So, again, an admission. All of it really seems silly because, again, if you were a king, you wouldn't be doing it like this. You really wouldn't. We wouldn't have half the problems we have right now. Let's go out to Brent in L.A., line 2. Brent, what say you?
A magnificent King Trump morning, Grant.
King Trump morning to you, Brent.
And it was wonderful seeing you and Jen at our big, beautiful, divinely diverse, inclusive MAGA town hall. It was a happy, winning, anti-woke extravaganza. And as for the weird, old, white, woke No King's Day, gag me. The Democrats' zombie monsterocracy never misses a chance to submit and surrender to tyrannically genocidal kings like Hitler, Stalin, Mao, Muhammad, or Joe Barack O'Biden. So, as a proud and joyful MAGA patriot, I declare November to be King Trump Month.
I love it, Brent. You always come up with some great ideas. King Trump month coming up. So November, not even October. We're going to get it a full month. That's the plan, Brent?
Absolutely.
All right, my man. Thank you so much. It was good to see Brent and so many others at the Town Hall 2025 on Sunday in Orange County as well. Folks, all of this has me excited about King Trump November. So that is going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'm Grant Stinchfield. Listen, no matter where you're watching, please subscribe to the channel. Please copy, paste the link if that's possible. Share it on all of your social media platforms. You can feel free to clip parts of this program as well and share it out. Just tag me at Stinchfield1776, and I will share your clip back. That I promise you. I can help you get some followers, maybe. You tag me, I'll share it back. All right? How about that for a deal? Again, we'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm so grateful to all of you watching. Stinchfield's Army rolls. We'll see you tonight.